Hold up for a moment and give me your full attention. What I'm about to share with you isn't just important, it's critical. It will determine whether everything you've been striving for actually takes root in your life or if it simply fades away, leaving you right back where you started, wondering why genuine change always seems to elude you. December 14th. It's a day virtually no one in the spiritual community is discussing. While many teachers are focused on cosmic alignments and grand portal openings, and while people celebrate their recent breakthroughs and fresh intentions, a powerful unspoken mechanism is preparing to silently undo all that progress. It's poised to erase your gains and pull you back to your old self unless you fully grasp what I'm about to reveal. This isn't some abstract concept or a clever metaphor. This is the hidden truth that explains why an astounding 97% of people who experience profound spiritual awakenings find themselves reverting to old patterns within a week. It's why transformation feels so real and powerful in the moment, yet so fleeting in hindsight. This is the secret that distinguishes temporary spiritual experiences from genuine, lasting evolution of consciousness. If you're reading this right now, your soul recognizes that you need this information. You're being prepared for something that will either solidify your transformation forever or completely dissolve it. The difference between those two outcomes hinges entirely on what you do on December 14th. Let me walk you through the invisible mechanics of how true transformation actually works. When you experience a moment of expansion, when your consciousness elevates, your entire energetic system undergoes what quantum physics refers to as a phase transition. Your frequency literally jumps to a higher level. Your neural pathways begin to reorganize. Your cellular memory starts to rewrite itself. Even your DNA responds by activating dormant sequences. This isn't just feel-good talk. This is a tangible, biological, and energetic transformation occurring at every level of your being. But here's the crucial piece. No one tells you that new frequency, that elevated state, that transformed consciousness is inherently unstable for the first 72 hours. That's 3 critical days. A vital integration window where your new frequency either stabilizes and becomes permanent or destabilizes and collapses back to your previous baseline. Think of it like water changing states. When you heat water to exactly 100 degrees Celsius, 212 degrees Fahrenheit, it reaches its boiling point. At that precise temperature, water exists in a transitional state between liquid and gas. Your consciousness operates in exactly the same way during transformation. You've reached that transition point. You're suspended between your old identity and your new one, and your entire system is trying to decide which way to settle. December 14th marks the end of that 72-hour window. It's the moment when your consciousness either completes the phase transition and permanently stabilizes at the higher frequency or fails to maintain that elevation and snaps back to your previous state. And here's the devastating truth. Your biology, your neurology, your entire survival system is programmed to prefer the old state. Not because the old state is superior, but because it's familiar. And to your primitive brain, familiar equals safe. So on December 14th, your system automatically launches what I call the collapse protocol. It's a highly coordinated biological and energetic process designed to pull you back to baseline, back to what's known, back to who you've always been. This collapse protocol is incredibly sophisticated. It operates on multiple levels, simultaneously attacking from various angles through psychological manipulation, energetic drainage, emotional triggering, and circumstantial chaos. This isn't punishment, nor is the universe testing you. This is simply how human consciousness operates. Every single person who has ever attempted to evolve faces this exact mechanism. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't comes down to one crucial factor. If you're not aware, the collapse protocol is coming. If you don't recognize it when it arrives, if you don't have strategies to navigate it, you will fail. Not because you're weak, but because you're fighting powerful forces without even realizing you're in a battle. But when you are aware, when you are prepared, when you understand what's happening, you can successfully navigate the collapse protocol. You can use December 14th to lock in your transformation instead of losing it. Let me show you exactly what the collapse protocol looks like so you can recognize it immediately and respond effectively. The first thing you'll notice on December 14th, typically within the first hour of waking, is what I call frequency fatigue. That elevated energy you've been feeling seems to drain away, not dramatically, but gradually, subtly, like a battery, slowly running down. You'll wake up and something just feels different, heavier, denser. The sense of power you are accessing feels distant. This feeling is incredibly convincing. It feels like legitimate depletion, as if you've exhausted your resources and need to rest, to pull back, to return to a more sustainable state. But this is not real depletion. This is your old programming's first attempt to convince you that the elevated state isn't sustainable, that you need to come back down to baseline, where things are easier and more familiar. Your system is creating the sensation of depletion to trick you into powering down voluntarily. It's making you believe that continuing to run a high frequency will burn you out, when in reality, the opposite is true. High-frequency states generate energy. They don't consume it. The way you counter frequency fatigue is simple, but requires discipline. On December 14th, you must actively generate energy instead of passively conserving it. Asterisk, move your body. Don't lie in bed, dwelling on tiredness. Get up and move, dance, stretch, exercise, whatever physical practice raises your energy. Movement generates electricity in your nervous system and activates your energy body. Asterisk, breathe consciously. Take deep, intentional, powerful breaths that flood your system with oxygen and life force. Breath is the bridge between your physical and energetic bodies. Asterisk, engage in practices that elevate your state. Meditation, high frequency, music, affirmations, visualization, whatever works for you to consciously raise your vibration instead of passively accepting the sensation of a lowering frequency. Asterisk, refuse to buy into the story that you need to rest and return to comfortable limitation. This doesn't mean you ignore genuine needs. It means you recognize the difference between authentic tiredness and manufactured fatigue designed to pull you back. By mid-morning, the second phase arrives. Doubt amplification. Your rational mind kicks into high gear with very convincing arguments about why nothing has actually changed, why you were just caught up in emotion, why you're probably fooling yourself. Thoughts arise like, maybe it was just a temporary high. Maybe I'm the same person I've always been. Maybe real change isn't possible for me. Maybe I should be more realistic about my limitations. These thoughts feel like they're coming from your wise, rational, grounded self. They feel like truth, as if you're being honest instead of living in a spiritual fantasy. But these thoughts are not wisdom, they're strategy. They're your old identity, fighting for survival by making you doubt the validity of your new identity. Here's how you know the difference. Authentic wisdom doesn't create contraction. Real truth doesn't drain your energy. Genuine insight doesn't make you feel small and limited. True knowing expands you even when delivering difficult messages. These doubt thoughts create contraction. You can feel your energy field pulling inward when they arise. They drain your vital force. They generate hopelessness and resignation, which means they're absolutely not coming from higher wisdom. They're coming from survival programming. So when doubt amplification hits, you don't fight it or suppress it. You simply recognize it for what it is and refuse to give it authority over your choices. You say internally, "I notice doubt is present. I recognize these thoughts as my old programming attempting to reassert control. I acknowledge this mental activity without believing it defines reality. My transformation is real. I will continue proving that through my choices today." This is not positive thinking. This is conscious awareness. It's recognizing the difference between the voice of transformation and the voice of resistance to transformation. The third phase intensifies throughout the afternoon, and it's the most dangerous because it's the most subtle. I call it pattern reactivation. This is when every behavior you thought you'd released suddenly becomes intensely compelling again. The urge to mindlessly scroll social media, the craving for that substance that numbs you out, the desire to engage in that familiar drama, the temptation to procrastinate on what matters, the pull toward that relationship pattern where you abandon yourself. Whatever your specific patterns are, all of them will activate on December 14th with unusual intensity. You'll feel strong urges toward behaviors you genuinely thought you'd moved beyond. This happens because these patterns are connected to deeply grooved neural pathways. You've run these programs thousands of times. They're highways in your neurology. And when your survival system is trying to return you to baseline, it naturally wants to travel those familiar highways. But here's the critical insight. Every time you feel the urge and consciously choose differently, you're literally rewiring your brain in real time. You're weakening that old neural pathway and strengthening the new one. December 14th is when this rewiring becomes permanent or gets abandoned. Every choice carries exponential weight. Every moment you choose your new behavior over your old pattern, you're cementing transformation at the neurological level. There is no neutral ground on December 14th. Every choice is either integration or dissolution. So when pattern reactivation hits, you use the conscious pause protocol. You place your hand on your heart and you ask yourself, does this choice belong to who I was or who I am becoming? That question creates a gap between stimulus and response. In that gap, your new self has space to choose differently. Without that gap, the pattern runs automatically before your conscious awareness even knows what's happening. Once you've created that space and asked that question, you make the choice that aligns with who you're becoming. Even if the urge is screaming at you, even if your entire nervous system is demanding the familiar comfort, you choose the new behavior. And every time you make that choice successfully, you're literally building the neural infrastructure of your new identity. The fourth phase emerges in the evening, external reality testing. This is when circumstances seem to conspire against your transformation. Technology breaks down, communications get crossed, unexpected problems arise, money issues surface. People behave in ways that trigger your deepest wounds. Everything that could go wrong seems to go wrong. It feels like the universe is punishing you for trying to change, like your transformation has made things worse, like you should give up and go back to how things were. But this is not punishment. This is not the universe telling you you're on the wrong path. This is the final examination of the collapse protocol. Reality is stress testing your new identity to see if it's robust enough to handle challenges. Your transformation is being evaluated. Is it genuine integration that holds up under pressure, or just a fair weather phenomenon that falls apart when things get difficult times? If you claim you're peaceful, but the first inconvenience makes you rage, were you ever really peaceful times? If you declare you're abundant, but the first unexpected expense sends you into a panic, were you ever really abundant times? If you say you're empowered, but the first challenge makes you collapse, Were you ever really empowered? Real transformation isn't about maintaining your elevated state in perfect conditions. It's about staying in your new frequency even when conditions are challenging. December 14th brings these tests not to break you, but to prove to you that your transformation is real, integrated, structural. So when the external chaos comes, you don't react from your old self. You respond from your new self. The old self reacts unconsciously, automatically, from fear and limitation. The new self responds consciously, intentionally, from power and possibility. Asterisk. When a problem arises, your old self would stress and spiral. Your new self takes a breath, stays centered, and either solves it calmly or accepts what can't be controlled without losing inner peace. Asterisk. When a money issue surfaces, your old self would panic into scarcity. Your new self acknowledges the challenge and asks, "What's my next aligned action?" and takes it without drama. Asterisk. When a person triggers you, your old self would engage in conflict or abandon yourself to keep the peace. Your new self responds from wholeness, maintains boundaries without making others wrong. This is how you pass the external reality testing phase, not by having a perfect day where nothing goes wrong, but by maintaining your new frequency when external reality is pushing against you. By late evening on December 14th, if you've successfully navigated all 4 phases, if you've actively generated energy instead of surrendering to frequency fatigue, if you've recognized doubt as strategy, if you've chosen new behaviors over old patterns, if you've responded from your new self when challenges arose, something profound happens. The collapse protocol stops. The pressure releases. Something clicks into place. Something settles. Something locks in. You feel it in your body. A settledness, a groundedness, a quiet knowing that you're different now. Not because you're trying to be different, but because you simply are. This is the integration point. This is when new neural pathways stabilize, when the new frequency locks in, when transformation becomes permanent. But you only reach this point if you've remained conscious throughout the entire day, if you've met every phase with awareness instead of unconsciousness. This is why I'm giving you this information before December 14th arrives. Because awareness is everything. When you know what's coming, you can prepare. When you recognize each phase, you can navigate it instead of being overwhelmed. Here's your exact step-by-step process to ensure your transformation not only survives, but becomes permanently locked in. The morning of December 14th, foundation and declaration. Before you even open your eyes, place both hands on your heart. Feel your heartbeat, anchoring yourself in physical sensation and presence. Then speak this declaration. Today is December 14th. Today is the integration point. Today, my old programming will attempt to reclaim me. And today, I will prove my transformation is permanent by choosing my new self in every moment. I am ready. I am aware. I am committed. Then spend a minimum of 30 minutes in whatever practice connects you to your highest self. Meditation, breathwork, yoga, prayer, journaling, movement. Do not skip this. This is the foundation that carries you through the entire day. During this practice, visualize yourself moving through the day, maintaining your elevated state no matter what arises. See yourself choosing new behaviors when old patterns activate. Feel yourself responding from your empowered self when challenges appear. Throughout December 14th, conscious choices. Every single decision you face becomes a conscious choice rather than an automatic reaction. What you eat, how you respond to messages, what you consume during breaks, how you speak to yourself when frequency fatigue hits, how you respond when doubt arises, what you do when urges toward old patterns surface, how you handle unexpected problems. Every moment is a choice between your old self and your new self, and you must make every choice consciously, intentionally, deliberately aligned with who you're becoming. This requires vigilance, presence, and conscious effort. You cannot autopilot through December 14th. You have to stay awake and intentional with every decision point. The evening of December 14th closing ritual. Between 8 and 10 p.m., create a formal closing ritual that seals your transformation. Find a quiet space, light a candle, sit comfortably, take several deep breaths. Then speak out loud, "I have walked through December 14th with full consciousness. I have met every phase of the collapse protocol with awareness. I actively generated energy when frequency fatigue tried to convince me to power down. I recognized doubt as strategy when amplification tried to make me question my transformation. I chose my new behaviors when pattern reactivation called me back. I responded from my empowered self when external reality tested me. I have proven through every choice today that I am genuinely, permanently, fundamentally different now. My transformation is complete. My integration is stable. My new frequency is locked in. I am no longer who I was. I am who I have become, and there is no going back." Sit in silence for several minutes, feeling the truth of those words, settling into every cell, every layer of your energy field. As you blow out the candle, visualize it as the symbolic closing of the integration window and the permanent sealing of your transformation. December 15th. And beyond a new reality, December 15th arrives and you wake up in a completely different world. Not because the world changed, but because you changed. And now reality is reorganizing itself to match your new frequency. People respond to you differently. They can't articulate what's changed, but they feel it. They treat you with more respect, listen more carefully, and are drawn to your energy in new ways. Things that seemed impossible suddenly feel accessible. Your daily experience transforms. Tasks that felt draining now feel energizing. Challenges that overwhelmed you now feel manageable. Triggers that controlled you barely register, but more importantly than any external change, you feel different within yourself in an undeniable way. That constant anxiety about sliding back into old patterns, gone. That persistent doubt about whether transformation is possible, dissolved. That exhausting effort of trying to maintain a new identity, released. You're not trying anymore. You're not forcing. You're not performing. You're just being who you actually are now. And that effortless beingness is the true sign of integrated transformation. This is what December 14th makes possible when you understand it and work with it consciously. This is the difference between spiritual seekers who collect experiences but never truly change, and spiritual embodiers who undergo permanent transformation. The collapse protocol is coming. It's inevitable. It's universal. Every person who has ever attempted to evolve faces this exact process. You know what's coming. You understand why it happens. You have the awareness to recognize each phase. You have the tools to navigate skillfully. You have the protocol to convert the greatest threat to your transformation into the mechanism that makes it permanent. December 14th is your proving ground, your final examination, your initiation into permanent transformation, your graduation from seeker to embodier. The question is, will you meet it with full consciousness and pass through transformed forever, or will you sleepwalk through it and wonder 3 days later why you're back where you started? Your answer, demonstrated through your actual choices throughout the day, will determine the entire trajectory of your life. From this moment forward, choose consciousness, choose awareness, choose your new self. Every single time, without exception, without negotiation, without compromise. The universe is watching. Your future self is calling you forward. Your soul knows this is your moment. December 14th is coming. Be ready. Stay conscious. Prove through every choice that you meant everything you claimed about who you're becoming. This is your moment. This is your test. This is your opportunity to stop being someone who has spiritual experiences and become someone who has permanently transformed. Rise to meet it with everything you are. Your entire future depends on it. And let me tell you something that will help you understand just how significant this moment truly is. It's the day that determines whether you have a spiritual journey at all, or whether you're just someone who dabbles in consciousness work without ever actually evolving. Think about every person you've ever known who talks about spirituality, who reads all the books, who attends all the workshops, but somehow never actually changes. Their life looks the same, year after year. Their patterns persist. Their limitations remain. These aren't bad people. They simply don't understand the integration process. They don't know about December 14th. They have the experiences. They feel the activations, and then they unconsciously allow the collapse protocol to pull them back every single time. So you can be one of the rare ones who doesn't just experience transformation, but embodies it permanently. And when you do, when you successfully navigate December 14th and wake up on December 15th as a permanently transformed being, you become something incredibly precious to this world. You become living proof that evolution is possible. You become a walking demonstration that humans can actually change at a fundamental level. Your successful transformation doesn't just change your life. It creates an energetic pathway in the collective field that makes it easier for others to transform. Every person who successfully integrates strengthens the morphic field of human evolution. This is why the universe has brought you to this information. You're not just transforming for yourself, you're transforming for everyone whose life you'll touch, everyone who will witness your change. And remember that change is possible. So, when December 14th arrives and the collapse protocol launches its assault, when you're in the middle of frequency fatigue and doubt, amplification and pattern reactivation and external chaos, remember this moment has been coming your entire life. Every challenge you've faced, every dark night you've survived, every limitation you've struggled against. December 14th is the culmination of your entire journey up until now, and you are ready. Not because you're perfect, but because you're aware, because you're prepared, because you understand the mechanism, because you have the tools, because you're committed. Not to me, but to yourself, to your soul, to your future self, who's waiting for you on the other side of integrated transformation. Place your hand on your heart and speak this commitment. I commit to recognizing every phase of the collapse protocol when it arrives. I commit to actively generating energy. When frequency fatigue tries to convince me to power down, I commit to seeing doubt as strategy rather than truth. I commit to choosing my new behaviors every time old patterns try to activate. I commit to responding from my empowered self when external challenges test me. I commit to staying conscious, aware, intentional throughout the entire day. I commit to proving through my choices that my transformation is real, permanent, and irreversible. December 14th is my day, and I will not waste it. Feel the power of that commitment settling into your entire being. Feel your future self reaching back through time to support you, to remind you that you absolutely can do this. Now, one final piece of guidance that will make all the difference on December 14th. Throughout the day, whenever you face a choice point, ask yourself this one simple question. What would the version of me who successfully navigated December 14th do right now? This question is powerful because it connects you to the future self. The version of you who has already walked through this day successfully. That future self exists right now in the quantum field. They're an actual energetic reality that you can tap into. When you ask that question, you're calling on your own future wisdom to guide your present choices. And your future self will always guide you to choose consciousness over unconsciousness, your new identity over your old patterns. Every time you ask and answer that question throughout the day, you're making that future self more real, more inevitable, more certain. By the end of December 14th, when you've consistently chosen what your successfully integrated future self would choose, you don't just become that version, you realize you always were that version. You were just allowing old programming to convince you otherwise. Your transformation isn't about adding something to yourself, it's about removing everything that's been covering up your true nature. And December 14th is the day you complete that removal process. So yes, you're prepared. Yes, you're ready. Yes, you're absolutely capable of meeting this moment with full consciousness and emerging transformed. December 14th is not your enemy. It's your greatest ally. It's the day that makes everything real. It's the day that takes transformation from experience to embodiment. And when you wake up on December 15th, when you feel that undeniable settledness, that unshakable knowing, that permanent shift in who you are, you'll look back at December 14th, not as a challenge you survived, but as a gift you feel received. The gift of integration, the gift of permanence, the gift of finally becoming who you've always known you could be. That gift is waiting for you. December 14th is the day you claim it. Be ready. Stay conscious. Trust yourself. The universe has been preparing you for this moment your entire life. Your soul chose this exact timing for your transformation. Your future self is already celebrating your success. All that remains is for you to show up and prove, through your choices, through your awareness, through your unwavering commitment, that you meant everything you said about who you're becoming. December 14th, your day, your moment, your permanent transformation. Rise to meet it. December 14th is the beginning. It's the seed moment, but you are the gardener. You determine whether that seed grows into a mighty tree or withers before it breaks through the soil. The universe plants the seed during the portal. You water it with your choices. You nourish it with your actions. You protect it with your boundaries. You tend it with your awareness. And slowly, steadily, surely, it grows into something magnificent. So I'm going to ask you one more time. And this time, I want you to answer not with your mind, but with your entire being. Are you ready? Are you truly ready to step into everything you've been prepared for? Are you willing to release every excuse, every justification, every story about why you can't, why it's not possible, why you're not worthy? Because if you are, if you're finally ready to burn those old narratives in the fire of your transformation, then December 14th will be the day everything changes. Not someday, not eventually. December 14th. Mark it. Prepare for it. Treat it with the reverence it deserves. This isn't just another day. This is your coronation, your graduation, your initiation into the next level of your existence. Wake up on December 14th, knowing that you are being reborn. Go to sleep on December 14th, knowing that you have claimed your throne, and live every day after as the sovereign being you've always been but finally had the courage to become. The ancestors are watching. The guides are waiting. The universe is holding its breath. And you, chosen one, you are the one who decides what happens next. You hold the key. You carry the code. You are the answer to the question that reality has been asking. December 14th is your declaration, your pronouncement, your sacred yes to everything you came here to be. Don't let this moment pass unmarked. Don't let this opportunity slip through your fingers. This is it. This is everything. This is your time.